So, you think you've got a plan for the zombie apocalypse, right? Barricade the doors, grab some canned food, aim for the head. Simple. But what if that plan is completely, utterly wrong? Today, we're going to tear apart that one-size-fits-all survival guide and break down zombie outbreaks into 7 distinct layers of terror, from the kind you can actually win to the kind that ends, well, everything.
See, here's the core idea that could save your life. What if your genius plan for one kind of outbreak actually gets you killed in another? It's not about memorizing a single set of rules. It's about knowing your enemy and correctly identifying the specific threat you're facing. So, let's start with the basics.
All right, we're kicking things off at Tier 1. This is what I like to call the winnable outbreak. Think of this as the classic old-school apocalypse. The kind that, if you just keep a cool head, is surprisingly survivable.
And yeah, the numbers totally back this up. With a survival rate over 85%, the real danger here isn't the zombies. It's us, the #1 killer in a Tier 1 event, good old-fashioned human error.
And your opponent in this first round is the Shambler. This is your classic George Romero zombie. They are slow, they are predictable, and let's be honest, they're not exactly bright. They're just driven by the most basic instinct for sound and light, which means simple things like a locked door or a flight of stairs can completely shut them down. And you see this play out everywhere, from the deadly serious horror of Night of the Living Dead to the hilarious pub crawl in Shaun of the Dead. The rules are basically the same. Heck, even Plants vs. Zombies gets it. The threat is coming in a straight line, and the counters are pretty straightforward. In these worlds, your best weapons are discipline and a solid plan.
And that really gets to the heart of Tier 1. The zombies are just the pressure. It's the humans inside who crack. You look at a movie like Day of the Dead, and you realize people are tearing each other apart over power struggles and paranoia long before the zombies even manage to break down the door. The takeaway is simple. Stay calm, work together, and you've actually got a pretty good shot.
Okay, but in Tiers 2 and 3, the training wheels come right off. This is where the infected get faster, smarter, maybe even organized. This is the point where society itself starts to buckle under the strain.
And whoa, just look at that drop. The survival rate absolutely plummets, down to as low as 15%. This is not a problem you can just wait out in your basement anymore. This is an active war for survival.
So here's where the game totally changes. In Tier 1, you could literally just outwalk the threat. But now you're facing special abilities, coordinated swarms, and all kinds of new mutations. Hiding is not a long-term option anymore. You have to fight back with actual strategy and teamwork.
This matrix really shows you how different the tactics have to be. In a Left 4 Dead situation, you need a coordinated squad with heavy firepower to take down special infected like tanks. In Train to Busan, it's all about speed and using choke points against these unbelievably fast swarms. And then you have Dying Light, where your survival literally depends on respecting a curfew to avoid the apex predators that come out at night. Each outbreak demands a completely unique strategic response.
All right, take a deep breath, because now we enter the stage where things get truly, truly dire. In Tiers 4 and 5, the outbreaks move so fast and are so widespread that they don't just crack society, they cause the collapse of entire nations. This is the end of the world as we know it.
The survival rate says it all, doesn't it? Less than 5%. At this point, making it through isn't just about being prepared. It's about being incredibly, ridiculously lucky. The odds are just overwhelmingly stacked against you.
And here's the reason why. The whole vector of infection changes. We are not just talking about bites anymore. The threat becomes inescapable. It's spreading through airborne spores, contaminated water, you name it. Suddenly, the world itself has become your enemy.
Let's look at 2 totally different ways the world ends. In 28 days later, the Rage virus is a fast burn. It causes society to collapse with terrifying speed before the infected eventually just starve to death. But the cordyceps fungus from The Last of Us, that's a slow grind. It's a relentless environmental takeover that fundamentally changes the planet and makes huge areas completely uninhabitable.
And the range of threats in this category? It gets wild. We are so far beyond simple biology now. You've got corporate bioweapons and Resident Evil, literal demonic possession and wreck, and, get this, an infection that spreads through the English language in Pontypool. The very definition of what a zombie is expands into something way more terrifying and complex.
Okay, we've made it. The final, most terrifying stage, the extinction event. Here, in Tier 6 and 7, the threat is no longer biological. It's not even environmental. It becomes cosmic. It starts breaking the fundamental rules of reality itself.
You know, a survival rate of less than 1% is basically a rounding error. At this level, survival isn't a skill, it's a miracle. You don't make it out because you were smart or prepared, you make it out because the plot absolutely demands it.
And this is the ultimate mind-bending shift. In all the earlier tiers, you're fighting a disease. Science, logic, tactics, they all still apply. But in this final stage, you're fighting a fundamental corruption of reality itself. Your goal isn't to find a cure anymore. It's to just pray for some kind of divine intervention, because literally nothing else is going to work.
And these are the nightmares you're up against. Just think about Marvel zombies for a second. How do you stop an infected Hulk? Or the Flood from Halo, a parasitic hive mind that gets smarter with every single person it absorbs. These threats are, by their very nature, unbeatable by any conventional means. They need reality-warping plot devices or god-tier powers to even slow them down.
You know, there's this quote about the Flood from Halo that just perfectly captures the absolute hopelessness of a Tier 7 event. It says, "You don't fight it, you don't outlast it, the planet just falls. Resistance is futile. The scale of the threat is so immense that the only possible outcome is total consumption. The planet and everyone on it simply falls." So, after all that, this brings us to the one crucial takeaway. The single most important survival skill isn't how well you can shoot or how much food you've stockpiled, it's diagnosis. You have to correctly identify which apocalypse you are in, because trying to use a Tier 1 strategy in a Tier 4 world will get you killed instantly. In the end, understanding the rules of the game is everything.
Which, of course, leaves us with one final and kinda chilling question. When you hear those sirens blare tomorrow, when the first chaotic news reports start flooding in, which one of these apocalypses are you hoping for? Because I think after this, we can all agree, a slow, dumb shambler sounds pretty good right about now.